Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Louis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Louis Bright Raven, 30-year veteran writer, illustrator, editor, publisher of comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. And this is August 18th, 2022, question and answer shorts. And our question today is from multiple parties, kind of the Chicken Little freak-out situation. What do you think of this whole Nextstar media group acquiring the CW and having ownership situation? Do you think this will kill the DC TV programming, and did this factor into the decision that Discovery Warner has been making as of late with shutting down and writing off all of the DC content? Well, I think people should do a little more research before they start thinking about these sort of silly scenarios. First off, so let's give you a little bit of a background as to what Nextstar actually is and what's going on. Nextstar is the largest television station owner in the United States, with 197 stations owned across the country for all four major networks. That's ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. They also own My Network TV. They own 38.7% of all television network stations in the country, and they're not allowed to go above 39% due to the FCC regulations prohibiting that. They have owned the CW's preceding network, the WB, in the past. They also operate all of the stations that are owned by affiliated companies, such as Mission Broadcasting and Vaughn Media, under local marketing agreements. They own the Food Network, the Cooking Channel, and they own News Nation. They are basically the largest TV media conglomerate in America. They've been around for 25 years, so they are not some fly-by-night upstart group that came out of nowhere, which a lot of media misrepresentation has suggested. And when they are looking at their demographic numbers, they know exactly what the hell they're talking about, which makes some of the mockery that you've seen in social media about this deal over their statements about the audience demographic range for the CW, who the idiot general public thinks does shows for teenagers, because comic shows are for teenagers. They really need to pay the hell attention to who and what is watching these actual shows, because it's not the kids, it's not the teenagers, and that's part of why all of these DC TV shows, it's not translating into new readership for their titles. For the comics, because guess who is actually watching The Flash and Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman and all the rest of that nonsense? It's the old school DC fans, ages 45 to 65, who remember the DC multiverse before 1985's Crisis on Infinite Earths and wish that they could have content in the comics like that. And remember, what was the general target demographic age group that Nextstar claims is the average age viewership for the CW? 58 years old, smack in the middle of that age bracket. So go ahead, tell me how they don't understand their market. Tell me how all these superhero TV series are aimed at teens. While you're at it, you might want to take a gander to your local comic conventions and look at the cosplayers and see how many of those teenagers and young 20-somethings are dressed as characters from manga and anime and not from your favorite DC TV show. Because chances are you're not going to see any of those characters from the DC TV shows being played, if any at all, because those teens and 20-somethings aren't necessarily ones watching this programming. This is also why shows like Dynasty, which were hits in the 1980s, get remade and it's a hit show on the CW, while remakes of the 90s shows from the original era of WB, like Charmed and Roswell, New Mexico, are completely missing their target and going away after one or two seasons, because the target audience that grew up on it in the 90s don't like the remake, and the younger generation, our kids, also saw the original content, because unlike when we were kids, when a show went away, you wouldn't see it for years or maybe even decades. Today, between syndication deals and DVD Blu-ray collections, everybody's got everything at their fingertips, and nothing's ever going away in the first place, so it's not new or fresh to those people or new audience. So it's like, oh, crappy remake of my mom's old favorite show. Pass. And this is why none of this is helping our comic sales, and why these shows aren't connecting with younger viewers or younger readers, who are going to manga and scholastic books, or really anywhere but DC and Marvel. And David Zaslav, who is the guy who's running Discovery, seems to realize this. Now, I don't know what his plan is to try to correct that. I am not surprised by his actions. And could this Nextstar group, who are conservatives, who are based out of Irving, Texas, with all that potentially implies, going to take away all the adulterized bullshit that has permeated live action in DCU and in the comics? Yeah, maybe, but I don't really think so, because they didn't do it when they owned the CW. We had Smallville, they attempted Birds of Prey, they attempted other things. So I don't think that's really going to happen. But even if it does, I don't necessarily think that that's going to be a bad thing. Moreover, I really don't think it's something worth bemoaning about, as it is not in my control. And when you can't control such things, and you can't do anything to affect the outcome, there's really no sense in getting up in arms about it. Fandom needs to learn this lesson. Now, would I like to see shows like Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, Titans, and the like to be continued? Sure, I would. But I was never going to buy HBO Max to watch them. I wait for the seasons to come out on DVD, and I buy the DVDs and binge watch them then. That's no different than me not buying Disney Plus to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or She-Hulk, or The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ahsoka. It's no different from me not buying Netflix to see The Sandman, or Stranger Things, or other channel or other programming that Netflix airs. I just don't have the financial resources nor the time to watch all this stuff, even if I wanted to, folks. Now, by all means, if any of this stuff or all of this stuff entertains you and you're willing to pay your hard-earned money for it, enjoy it. Enjoy it while we have it. Praise it. Share it with your friends. But please don't get upset with the rest of us who either aren't willing or don't have the financial resources to join in, as if it's some sort of test of one's fandom or loyalty to the brand, which I've seen that kind of attitude being spread around the social media blogosphere, if you will. Don't look at people cross-eyed, and we don't share the same passion or hatred over some book or comic or TV show or movie. And for crying out loud, stop predicting the end of the universe whenever any change comes along that may or may not sync up with what you are expecting or what you want a show, movie, comic, or book to be. It's exhausting to yourself go through that emotional roller coaster, and honestly, you need to ask yourselves, is this worth all the grief? Well, is it? And that's my thoughts for this particular episode and this question. I'll be back later tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern for What Did You Get This Week, where I show what I bought at my local comic shop this week, and also do a few more reviews. So if you have questions for me, check me out at Quoth the Raven LBR72@gmail.com, subject QTR Q&A, and I'll do my best to give you an answer. In the meantime, Sin Killer's in the room. Greetings, I knew about yesterday. Superman Lois is a good show, but everything is resolved very fast. I like that Clark is not an idiot and the kids. I've watched a few episodes. Not my cuppa. Not a bad show by any means, but not my cuppa. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of these shows, not just the CW shows, but a lot of the like Legends. I was into it for about maybe a season. The Flash I never got into. Batwoman I never got into. Just a lot of them. Stargirl I was able to watch the first season, and I don't know if that speaks to me just as I get older and my lack of interest, because of my lack of interest in the comics has permeated over to the TV shows as well. I don't know. As far as the big two are concerned, but I would never say any of them are bad shows as a general rule. I mean, I think the last really Yeah, I really can't even say Batwoman was bad. I just wasn't my thing. Um, so it's just, everybody has their own preferences. Like I said, I do like Doom Patrol and Titans and Swamp Thing, but I didn't get to see them on TV. I had to get them through the DVDs, and that's fine. I'm happy with that. If Swamp Thing had been put on the CW, I probably would have watched that. And it was after they canceled it and on HBO Max already had it out on DVD. So, it's like, put that on the CW first, but it is what it is. Okay. So, if you like this episode or you think others might, as always, I'd appreciate it. If you hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and to help continue to get content from this channel. As always, I thank you for watching and for your support. It's a little bit of a short episode. Again, tonight at 9 p.m., we'll talk about what I bought this week at the comic shop and do some more reviews. And then tomorrow, we'll have another question and answers in the early afternoon. And tomorrow night, we'll be talking about the 1959 movie, The Tingler, starring Vincent Price, for our Friday movie night discussion. So until then, have a great day, folks. We'll see you next time. But if you want to reach out to me on social media, Facebook, Lewis.BrightRaven, at Twitter at LewisBrightRave2. If you want to look at my artwork, deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You've been watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, exclusively on YouTube. Quoth the Raven, LBR72@gmail.com is the email address to ask questions or send commentary to. And if I don't get back to you with a day or two on the show or maybe by email, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. And Sin Killer, yes, I know I'm running late on getting you your review on your book. I apologize for that. I will get to that shortly. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.